Welcome everybody back to another video here, end of 2023 with the Google Pixel 6. And one of my thoughts on this device, as this is the opening chapter of Google Pixel Chapter 2. Now, the Pixel 6 really struck me as odd, not because of the design, which everyone kind of focused on. Everyone was just really commenting about this camera visor bar. Two-tone color is there, so you still see that Google quirkiness and everything that they seem to have lost in later versions of Pixels. But for me, what really caught me off guard was the price of this device at launch. Considering the way that it looked, the way that it feels in hand, I mean, this was a slick phone. The oleophobic coating has actually worn off this thing, so it's more comfortable to hold in the hand without a case than, say, my Pixel 7, which still is slick and slides around like a freaking penguin. But when I first saw the launch of this at Made by Google event, and I was looking at it, and I was just like, wow, it's a really nice looking phone. In my opinion, I had no problems with this camera bar or any of that. But I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to hang back a little bit on it. I'm pretty sure they're going to price this thing out, the base model at least, at $899. Boy, oh boy, was I wrong. The Pixel 6 launched at a $599 price tag, and I was blown the frick away. You're pricing it at $600 for this. And I think also, they hit the $600 mark because it was the 6th generation of Google Pixel. So it's like 6 and 6. Hey, you know what? Like, let's, Easter egg stuff. But besides the pricing, when I picked one up and I was like, okay, they priced it at $599. What's the catch? Am I going to have a very bad experience? And at least for me, I can say that I didn't have a bad experience. Not dismissing everybody else who claimed that they had issues with the modem, not connecting to 5G very well, and the Tensor G1 not processing things the way that they expected it to, and the camera sensors being a little off key. All these things, there are various different bugs and issues that people have experienced with the Pixel 6, and it was like throwing in a new chipset in-house made by Google with the help of Samsung, and then a Samsung modem in here, and then on top of that, like it was meant. It was a Frankenstein. It was meant to have problems, and thankfully I didn't experience those. And maybe luck of the draw, who knows, but I can tell you guys my experience with the Pixel 6, solid device. They upgraded the camera sensor on this one, so it switched up to a Samsung sensor that was at 50 megapixels compared to the Sony camera sensor in previous models that were a 12.2 megapixel. So it was like a hit and miss because Android needed to be optimized to this newer camera sensor that they were invested in. And so it took a little bit of time, but now it does take pretty dang good photos. I can't complain about the Pixel 6 and the photos that it takes. It's solid, it's great. No problems there at all whatsoever with that. The size of it was one thing that I did frown upon, just because it is a much larger device compared to previous Pixel models that were available in the base size. To me, this always looked at, in my opinion, as like a Pro model size, but then the Pro model is a little bit bigger than this, at 6.7-inch displays, so it's a little bit more taller. So yeah, this is probably like the biggest I would go in a smartphone for comfortability. If I got a Pro model that was bigger than this, and obviously I'm gonna have to case up and also throw in couple of those pop sockets to make sure I get a good handle on it. The weight of the phone to me also kind of struck me odd too. I mean, again, for $599, I was expecting less and I got more. And really, that's been like the main thing that was just like, you go, Google, like you go. Awesome. But of course, over time, things started to be weird about it. And even till today, my Pixel 6 functions just fine. A little bit weirdness for it. This was actually my fault. I ended up damaging the SIM port. So physical SIM cards are not read on my Pixel 6. Any carrier I go with, I have to go with eSIM. The eSIM still works. Everything connects just fine. You can see that the modem is on the weak side when you compare it. Like, say like if I was using Visible in here, then I switch my Visible SIM to another device. I get better connectivity on another device compared to my Pixel 6. So that's like the drawback still that happens with the Pixel 6. But other than that, with Android 14, with the camera sensors, the battery life, still producing pretty decent. Get through a whole, workday, no problems at all whatsoever. Nice size display, on the large size, can't really complain about that. The Pixel 6 is still pretty much a go. And if you can find this device for like $200, great, right? I see them go right now for like $249. Some of them that are unopened boxed are going for like $279. So, I mean, if that's what people are pricing it at, if you find this for $200, which I do see on certain places like Swappa, I've seen it for like $200. On OfferUp, I've seen people selling it for $200. Yeah, if you get it at that price, awesome. If you get it for less than that, because I seen one person that was so hell bent on getting a Pixel 8, they were selling their Pixel 6 for $150. Originally, they priced it at $200, and they started reducing the price to get someone to bite and buy the phone. So if you get it for $150, solid. It's an overall great phone, great flagship device, sent out from Google, had its issues. And, on another note, the chipset that's in here, the Tensor G1 specifically, was actually going to be put in the Pixel 5. So in this case, because of the issues with the pandemic and everything like that, I am sad that the issues plagued the Pixel 6, which gave it a bad rap from the beginning, but it's actually ironed out a lot of the bugs, and it's a much better experience today than what it was at launch. But on the sad side, if the G1 and the Samsung modem was put in the Pixel 5, the Pixel 5 would have been a really bad device. And I would have hated for that, because if you guys know, the Pixel 5 is like my top device because of the size, maneuverability, and all-out Android and everything that I find in any other Pixel device, newer and older, I find it in the Pixel 5. And so that's where I go for it. Really, it's just the size that kind of like puts it in my number one spot. But the 6, if this was smaller, if this was the size of like the phone from the bottom of the visor down, and they had that camera bar across here, I think it would have been an even perfect device for me. But that's for me. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the Pixel 6. At the end of 2023, still a solid device to pick up. If you've owned one, share your story in the comments. If you haven't owned one and you're interested in one, let me know in the comments and we can talk about it. Thanks for checking out this video. End of 2023, we're going into 2024. Peace. I had a very bad outro. I don't know what's wrong with me. Bye, everybody.